Hello and welcome to Two Crones and a Microphone. I am Linda.
And I am Betty.
And Sally is on vacation. Lucky her. We'll hear more about that later. Stay tuned for July when you'll get an update on her travels. As Cultural Midwives, our podcast offers guidance and teachings to those seeking wisdom from us, experienced crones. We utilize effective methods to connect ourselves and our surroundings, and we embrace spirituality as a source of resilience and empowerment. We invite you to visit us on our website, Two Crones and a Microphone, all spelled out, TWOCRONES and a microphone.com, for extended information from our episodes and for informative blogs about our topics. Betty, why don't you take the next piece?
And soon we'll be unveiling our very own Two Crones YouTube channel. When you go to that channel, always remember to look for the two owls because there are many Two Crones on YouTube. I think we started a trend, actually.
I do too.
And on the channel, you'll be able to watch us do our podcast, record our podcast, and engage in our heart-filled conversations with our guests. And boy, we have an amazing lineup of women. I am so excited about that. This visual journey will bring you even closer to our nurturing community, allowing you to experience the energy and love that goes into every episode. And let me tell you, we spend a lot of time on our episodes so we can bring you a brilliant episode.
We absolutely do. And why don't you tell us a little bit about our sponsors? Because Minerva Education and Wellness is certainly near and dear to your heart.
Yes, that's my baby. Started, oh my God, over 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're at minervaed.com, minervaed.com. We have online classes. Our tapping class that was done by our crone Sally is available for download.
Excellent.
We have other classes that we offer on site, and I see clients. So you can also, if you be wanting to come and see me here in Honesdale, you'll be able to schedule an appointment.
That sounds great. And in the past, I've taught with Minerva. It's been a wonderful experience. We did the Feminine Wisdom series, looking back at various goddess stories and doing empowerment exercises. So, just stay tuned and look there as well as at Two Crones and a Microphone. There'll always be a click-through link there to Minerva as well. Now, there's someone else we need to call out, Franny. She's our go-to person for everything. Technical, digital. She's helped us produce absolutely everything from our logo to our website, our beautiful headshots. These are some of the best headshots I've ever had taken. And even orders our merchandise when we need it. She can help a flea market, anything. Here's a joke. What did the flea market hire a new saleswoman? Why did they do that? Because they heard she can help a flea market anything. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
That is bad.
That is bad. I agree.
Oh my heavens.
Okay, keep going, Betty.
As we continue our journey of restoration and replenishment, we are thrilled to introduce a series of heartwarming updates designed to nourish your soul and uplift your spirits. As we continue to craft captivating show topics and expand our podcast with valuable insights, we invite you to join our mailing list and stay connected with us on this exciting journey. By signing up, you'll be the first to know about our latest episodes, gain exclusive access to behind-the-scenes content, and receive personal invitations to special events. Our mailing list is more than just a subscription. It'll be your gateway to a supportive network of like-minded individuals who are committed to personal growth and staying grounded in today's fast-paced world. Just go to our website, twocronesandamicrophone.com, to join.
If you go there right now, you're going to see some amazing blogs that our sister Sally put together. They are astonishingly informative. They have good click-through links for you to investigate further from things that we've investigated and think are first rate. So it continues the journey with us. If you enjoy our podcast, you will enjoy going a little bit deeper with us by visiting twocronesandamicrophone.com. All right, enough of the commercial. Today, we're addressing a topic near and dear to our hearts: which herbs to plant in your summer or kitchen garden. Culinary herbs have been used for generations and often have helpful properties beyond their marvelous flavor in your salads and cooking. And we always want to be sure you have herbs on hand for stress, for your use in tea, iced tea, honey, and even under your pillow at night. So let's get started. Betty, let's start out with how we cultivate herbs. It's just a little teeny tiny primer. Neither one of us are gardeners exactly, but these herbs are pretty much foolproof. You can grow them. If we can do it, you can do it.
Absolutely. And you know what? I live in an area where we can get a frost up until Memorial Day,
Absolutely, me
which
too.
at the time we're doing this podcast will be coming up on Monday. So I generally start my herbs in a raised bed
Mhm.
in a warm area in my home.
Yeah.
So I start them, plant them there, and then I may transplant them outside. I may just move the whole raised bed because it's on a table and move that outside. It kind
Oh,
of
nice.
depends on how I'm feeling about it.
Yep.
But I get the herbs the minute they come in. I deal with one greenhouse that has superb herbs and herbs that I know will grow.
Yes.
The other thing I've used is the Arrow Garden for the winter time. So if I feel like, it's a dreary winter, I need something alive in the house, then what I'll do is I'll use my Arrow Garden. And really, they have seeds, they have little pods that you put in, you get them started there, and you can transplant them to your raised bed. I have done that. Last year I did it. But this year I decided to go with some really fresh herbs. The
Mhm.
other thing I have is I do keep herbs in the kitchen. So on
See,
my windowsill,
exactly.
I use the herbs like rose. I love rosemary, absolutely love rosemary. So I
Mhm.
have a
Mhm.
nice pot of rosemary there as well as in the garden. And then I have another pot of mint because I
Yes.
like mint to settle my stomach, to put in my tea, to put in uh, iced tea with lemon. It gives it a beautiful taste, and it's really good for you. Mint is good for you. It uplifts you. It's like one of those happy herbs.
It
We have
absolutely
happy
is.
herbs, right?
Yeah.
So I have two types of thyme. I have rosemary, basil, lemon balm right now out there. Parsley, I have put out, I don't know, it kind of doesn't do as well as it should for
Mhm.
some
I
reason.
agree. As an herbalist, I do forage for wild herbs, but I do like to have herbs potted as well. So what I do, I don't put them in the ground, but I have a series of pots on a wall
Mm-hmm.
nearby, right outside my entry door. And they're like you. I usually do at least two types of thyme: rosemary, basil, lemon balm, and then I'll do a variety of medicinal herbs too. I almost always have a Tulsi out there, lavender for sure. These are all hitting on the ones we're going to recommend to you in just a moment. We have a great list of both culinary and medicinal herbs, but I'm kind of a water them and let it go gal. I don't
Uh-huh.
hover too much. I talk to them. I have a little conversation. I say, okay, you can do it. I'll water you. Here's the sunshine. Have some fun. And usually it works all right. I won't say I have a green thumb, though. That is not exactly my MO, but usually it works just fine.
Yeah, I don't either. Excuse me. But I do have a friend who has a green thumb,
Oh,
and
well.
she minds a lot of the plants in my house because I do bring plants in because I want the greenery. I want something alive, particularly in the dead of winter. And they help clean the air and keep things rolling.
Absolutely.
So it's really nice. And my kitty thank God, stays out of them as far as I know, because she patrols the house at night. But, when
Mm.
she was younger, she would have dug into the dirt,
Yes, I
as would have my
understand.
pup, Luna, oh,
Yeah,
dirt, yay, fun.
yeah, yeah.
So unless you have older animals that won't get into the dirt, I wouldn't really recommend that.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny too, because one of the herbs we're going to be recommending medicinally is catnip.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so that's a whole other conversation. Let's save the cat stories
It's-
for when we get there. But for culinary herbs, I'm going to list them out and then we're each going to talk about them. Rosemary, thyme, mint, basil, yummy, and oregano. So, Betty, why don't you take rosemary? I know you have such an affinity for this.
Oh, I love rosemary. One of the things I love about it is the scent.
Yes.
So very often when I'm feeling kind of blah, I will run my hand up the rosemary plant like a
Yes.
caress, and the scent is wonderful.
I agree.
And it's just it makes me happy to smell it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And then I use it in cooking all the time.
Yes.
My favorite thing to make is a roast chicken
Mm-hmm.
with rosemary, and
Me
I
too.
just cut the sprigs, put it on the top. I put a lemon in the chicken, cut
Yes.
the sprigs of rosemary. I may throw some other herbs on it, but the
Yeah.
primary one is the rosemary. Pop it in the oven, comes out wonderfully tasting. It's just
So
yummy.
fragrant. Yummy.
Yes.
I do a very similar roast chicken. I think, yeah, we're similar in that regard. It's really good. I love too that it's a memory aid, because
Yes.
this is one of the sort of unknown characteristics of some of the culinary herbs we'll talk about. It is a nervous system herb. It helps calm the nervous system and brighten you, just like you said. And also, it is a known memory aid. So by having the scent of that rosemary, you're sort of jolting all the good receptors in your brain and your nose there. It's really fun.
I agree with you on that. I find that rosemary does help keep me on point.
Yes,
And there you can make a rosemary tea, mix it with
absolutely.
something else, maybe a little ginger or something,
Yeah,
because it does mix well. It does play well with other herbs.
it does. Yeah.
And it does help keep me sharp. And I'm getting to an age where I have to pay attention to that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, we all are.
So
Yeah.
rosemary is lovely for that.
Yeah. And then
Um,
thyme. Let's talk
yes,
about thyme. And
yes.
I don't mean Time, the clock. I mean Thyme, the herb. It's a master culinary herb. It comes in so many different flavors. Did you know there's regular thyme, lemon thyme, all different kinds, including chocolate thyme? That's an interesting one. I've grown that one before. But it's also a potent antiviral, and it's used, if you use it in tea, add some honey to it. Did you know some of my friends in Europe talk about going into the Boots, which is their CVS, and when they start to get a scratchy throat or feel a sniffle coming on, they all know, go to the Boots and you're going to get some off the shelf thyme tea. You're going to take it home and make a cup of thyme tea, throw some honey in it. And they say more often than not, it helps kick that out before it takes hold. So there we go. That is an old school use of a culinary herb that can help us in a lot of different ways. Um,
I
it's,
like the taste of lemon thyme.
I do too.
So I can just pop that in my mouth and chew it. you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, me too. And thyme is pretty hardy too. Even in
hmm
our northern climate here, the thyme that I planted in a giant pot has come back at least 4 years now. And so that's my kind of herb. It already self-propagates. It comes back. I'm like, great, thank you. So anyway, it's really interesting. And in the fall, we're going to be talking too about what to do with these herbs that you've been planting, because, one thing that we want to do is we want to guide you through the seasons so that you have an understanding of, okay, we're going to plant these herbs. We use them for our purposes in the summer, but what else can we do with them? How can we harvest them? How can we preserve them? How can we use them? Here's a tip. Take some of the thyme, fill a little jar up about a third of the way with some snipped thyme, pour some honey over it. Let that honey sit on your counter
hmm
for about 2 weeks is fine. A month is better. And then you just take a little bit of that honey every day or put it in your tea. And you get both the benefits, the antimicrobial benefits of the honey and the sweetness, which is what's not to love about that. And you also get the antiviral boost.
And may I suggest that you get local honey if you can?
Thank you.
You know, up here, it's pretty easy, but I realize having lived in the city, you don't always get that option.
Yeah.
But local honey is really good, especially during allergy season.
Yes.
Because the bees are carrying the pollen, right?
Yep.
And so it helps you fight off all those nasty things that come with allergies.
Yeah. It's just so beneficial just using these things that are right on our doorstep in many cases.
Yes.
So Betty, you want to take mint?
Mint,
Because mint is one of your
yes.
favorites. Mine too.
I love mint. Spearmint's probably my favorite, but I do use peppermint. I have had the chocolate mint, which is yummy because I love chocolate.
Yeah.
However, gardener beware.
No
You put
kidding.
mint in your garden and it is going to take over.
You bet.
It is just that kind of herb. I have a friend who transplanted a mint plant, small mint plant from her home when she moved into our neighborhood. That thing is huge and she can't get rid of it. She has tried everything.
It self-propagates like mad.
Oh, goodness. And she, you know, she said to me, anytime you're walking Luna, just stop by, take some of the mint, which I have done actually.
Good. Yeah.
Because that mint is so good. I put it right into my tea or sometimes just into some water with honey and lemon. And it's delish. It really is. And you can chew the leaves. It's great for your digestion, for your stomach, if it's acting up and acting weird.
Yep.
So, and you can dry the leaves, which I have done, and then I have it all year round. So I do use it. When I had COVID, that was one of the things that I did use. Yeah. Because my stomach was all screwed up. It was nasty. And the mint really, really, really did help me.
I agree. And I want to add too, mint iced tea in summer is so ideal because mint is naturally cooling to the system.
Yes.
And so if you have a hot system going on, mint is a great antidote to that. It'll help even it out. Yeah. Now let's move on to basil.
Yes.
Pesto. Need I say more? I am a big pesto fan, as you might know, or you just found out. And so basil is an amazing herb. Again, there are many different varieties of basil, purple basil, regular green, Italian basil. All these things are fragrant. You smell them and it's like, oh, wonderful. And I always get so excited when at the farmer's market, the first basil comes in and I will grab 5 bunches and pre-make a bunch of pesto in my, like chopper, and I'll pop it in the freezer so that way, when the basil is fresh and really coming in June, July, I can take advantage. And I'll usually make it up the same day because then it really, really maintains the potency. So then I have little jars of frozen pesto in my freezer and I can go and get them whenever I like. I just used the last one up last week. So that's how committed I am to pesto.
You could put them in an ice cube tray.
Absolutely. Yes, you can.
Easy to pop out when you want them.
You get little, like 2 tablespoons at a time, which might be just right. And of course, I like to use that on everything, on fish, on chicken, on pasta, on veggies, and blah, blah, blah. But did you know, just like mint, basil is a digestive aid. And so there we go, the wisdom of our elders. They're using these herbs, which to us are culinary herbs, but there's a reason they started using them all the time.
So shall we move on to oregano?
Oregano.
Which everybody knows oregano because that's usually what's in your tomato sauce, right? So it's part of your Italian herbs. You might put it on your pizza. It's very flavorful. And Rosemary Gladstar has a book called The Herbal Recipes for Vibrant Health. And I'm going to post that on the website.
Great. It's one of my favorite books of hers. It's so accessible.
And according to her, oregano, and let me tell you, she is the godmother of herbalism here.
Please, yes.
It has a potent benefit when you're coming down with something. You can make a tea, you can mix it with lemon balm, you can mix it with thyme, so you get a double punch, right?
Yep.
And add some honey to it. You can make up your own concoction. Again, you put the oregano, you put the thyme and lemon balm in with the honey and just leave it, so you can spoon it out for yourself.
Yep.
My granddaughter takes oregano oil, which you have to get at the health food store. I don't know. You could probably make it, now that I'm thinking about it, by putting the oregano in like some olive oil and then be able to take it that way. But she swears by that. When she feels like she's getting sick, she starts popping that and boom, she doesn't come down with whatever it is trying to grab her.
Yep.
So oregano is another one that's very beneficial to your health, very beneficial.
You know, I just want to tie this back to a different podcast that we did. It was some time ago, it was a year ago in the spring. Podcast number 18, Spring Rituals for Seasonal Changes and How We Embrace Them. A lot of what we're talking about right now, we did a briefing on then too. So go back and listen to podcast 18 if you'd like a little more information on some of these things and the planting and other spring rituals you might engage in at this time. So we're getting to a point, because this is podcast number 36, that we have this whole body of knowledge that we want to share with you. So you can expect we're going to be referring you to other podcasts of ours as well, because we do put so much time and effort and heart and thought into producing these things. Are we ready to move on? I want to move on to the medicinal adaptogen herbs. These are ones that we've identified as are easy to grow. Yay, thank you. Speaking for myself here.
And they're also herbs that we both use.
That's right. Exactly.
On a daily basis. We take at least one or two, sometimes three. So
exactly.
Easy enough if you put it in a cup of tea or you put it in your iced tea. I mean, I highly recommend Tulsi. I mean, Tulsi is my go-to. It's also known as holy basil.
Yes.
It's excellent for anxiety. And we did talk about that in one of the podcasts. It's calming, nourishing, and antimicrobial. I used it. And as some of you know, if you've been listening, my husband was very ill the last years of his life. And quite frankly, if you've been in that position, you know it's difficult taking care of your loved one.
Yeah.
And it was the Tulsi. I had Tulsi every single day.
Yeah.
That helped me maintain my composure, not fall apart. I mean, and there were multiple opportunities to do that. But I really believe the Tulsi was the one herb that really came to my rescue. There's a reason why it's called holy basil.
That's exactly right.
I highly, highly recommend.
It came to us from the Ayurvedic tradition, which is the Indian herbal tradition, East Indian herbal tradition, and it's known as an adaptogen. So what it does is it helps bolster or support your entire system in highly stressful situations and helps support us adapting to the situation. And so when you hear us use certain terms, I'm going to try, and Betty will try to make sure you understand why we're calling it that. And it does, and these are all adaptogens in their own way. And I just want to point out there were a couple of places where we've talked about holy basil before, or Tulsi. One was in anxiety and its remedies, which was podcast number 11, and another podcast number 22, when we were talking about antibiotic shortages and herbs for preventive care. So again, there's a lot of cross references here. I want to address lemon balm, which is the second one. Antiviral, antimicrobial. It's both calming and enlivening. Now, lemon balm is in the mint family. And so like those mints we were talking about, you want in your iced tea, Lemon balm is going to be really delicious. It basically invites you to come on in and have some. It's so, so wonderful. And I do take lemon balm, not tincture, but glycerin, which means it's in a more non-alcohol solution. But I take a lemon balm glycerin every single day because it's antiviral, antimicrobial. It just bolsters my system and it's delicious. And it does also help sort of elevate the mood, yet calm me down, feeling more grounded. What a great combination. It is a featured remedy for depression and anxiety, for nervous disorders, a host of viral and bacterial problems. Now, you can make a batch of this. Betty, you mentioned this in one of our other podcasts. Make a batch of it and store some lemon balm iced tea in the fridge. Then you have it. And later on this year, we're going to do a briefing for you about how to make your own lemon balm tincture and lemon balm glycerin. Because if you go out and you get a lemon balm plant and you plant it now, by August, it's going to be overwhelming your flower bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a prolific herb for sure because it's part of the mint family.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. So that's it for now on lemon balm, but we'll be talking about that again. It's one of our master go-to herbs. How about lavender? I know you have a lot to say.
Oh, I love
know.
lavender. I
I
have
know.
3 lavender plants in my garden, and they all came back this year because they do winter over.
Yes.
And they're beautiful. I was out looking at them this morning, in between the raindrops. We're having rain, thunderstorms, which is good. It's keeping everything nice and growing, right?
Yep.
It's a wonderful nerve tonic. And you take in small doses. You don't need a lot. It can go in tea. You can add it to your bath. Remember to put it in a muslin bag so you don't have leaves, the floating all over the bath and then going down the drain and clogging everything up.
Right.
It's great to relieve stress, aids insomnia, headaches. Good for insect bites. I have used lavender essential oil for insect bites. It really helps with the sting. Of course, bee stings, especially, and the stupid little mosquito bites. I hate those things. Yuck. and you can apply lavender directly to the skin. So you could also make like a little poultice. So you put a couple of the lavender leaves in a bag and you can just put it right on there if you don't happen to have lavender essential oil, and that will help. They also keep insects away. So you can hang them in your closet.
Yes.
Some of us use cedar chips, but you can also use lavender.
That's what I have in my closet is big bags of lavender, and it helps repel all the insect stuff.
Well, you don't want the ones that eat your clothes.
Well,
that really
Thank you very
messes
much.
things up. And the scent of lavender does help calm you. Now, I went to a Catholic school. I went to school at 3 years old, actually. So my whole kindergarten, grammar school, high school. And the nuns had 2 sets of habits because they wore the old habits those days, the long dresses and the veils and everything.
Yes.
And we always noticed in the classroom that when sister passed us, there was this scent of lavender.
Nice.
And when I got older, I asked about it. And apparently, because they kept their things in a trunk, they had these little rooms that they lived in. And they had a summer habit, a winter habit. The winter habit was wool. And they would put lavender in there to make sure that the habit didn't come out with a whole bunch of holes.
Yeah.
When the winter season came. But it served a dual purpose, right? It kept the insects away, and it also helped calm the classroom because as they rustled by, you had that lovely scent of lavender.
That's a great story. Thank you for relaying that. Yeah. That's so funny. And again, older wisdom, if you think back to the medieval herb gardens, they always had lavender, rose, mint, all kinds of things in there.
Yeah. Bunratty Castle in Ireland has a whole herb garden and they're all there. I was so happy to go there.
That
And
might
then,
be a fun podcast at some point to like walk through virtually one of those herb gardens.
oh yeah, what an
Fun.
idea. Write that down
Okay.
so we don't forget.
Well,
And then,
we're going to finish up with one more herb, which is again a more adaptogen. It's catnip. Okay, don't cringe. Catnip is not just for cats. You know what happens when you give a cat catnip and it gets all excitable? It's the opposite for us. When we give ourselves catnip or catmint, as it's sometimes called, instead, for us humans, it calms and sedates us, not in a dreadful way. You can drive safely with it, but it's just very calming and sort of restorative. It's a great digestive aid and also a good sleep aid. And Betty, you had an interesting take on this for teething children.
yeah, the book I mentioned by Rosemary Gladstar, she states that it's good for teething children. And in my day, I come from an Irish household, right? You got whiskey on your gums
Yeah,
when you were teething.
yeah,
And even later, if you had, like if you had braces or something and you were having tooth
yeah,
pain, the whiskey, right? But
yeah.
you can use catnip for this. And also for the moms out there, the caregivers, it helps you to cope with a crying child.
There we
So it
go.
has double duty. My only caveat is if you, and I did this one year, I planted it outside. I think I had every cat in the neighborhood visiting, you know? So was
That's
driving
pretty funny.
my poor cats absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
But catnip is really a wonderful herb for humans and cats. Because let me tell you, they'll play with the catnip and they'll go, they're running around, they're having a good time. And then all of a sudden, boom, they pass out.
That is true. That
Yeah.
used to happen with my cats too. They'd play, play, play,
Yeah.
play, play, and then collapse.
Yes.
It's like being very cat-like. Yeah, this is great. Well, we want to thank you for coming in and listening with us and to us. And we want to ask you to consider a wisdom practice, which is to investigate. Go have some fun with this. You don't have to take our list, but we suggest it as a jumping off point because we've thought about this a bit. And find some herbs that appeal to you, even if you take one or two from each category. You can keep some in the kitchen, you can keep some outdoors, either in pots or planting it, and let us know what you planted and how it's coming along. Send us a picture. Love to see your lavender, love to see your mint sprouting up there. And we just are so grateful. We appreciate you tuning into our podcast. Would you please go spread the word and feel free to reach out to us with any questions you can have on any subject, this subject in particular now, but any really. We'd be more than happy to answer them. Please feel free to leave us a rating or share this episode with family and friends. That's how we're gaining traction because a lot of people go, wow, we really enjoy listening to you. It's fun, it's inventive, it's very engaging. And so we told our sister-in-law about you because we think maybe she'd enjoy it. I was like, thank you. That's great. And please subscribe to our podcast. You're going to find a little subscribe button, whoever your podcast provider is. We're up on almost every platform. We'd love to have you leave a review on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, and tell us what's most memorable for you about this episode.
We want to give our thanks to Franny's photography, of course, just
Mhm.
as a review here, of course, to minervaed.com.
Yeah,
And I guess it's time for us to finish up and say goodbye.
I think so too.
So I am wishing you all a lovely summer. It's coming. It's here actually in Northeast PA. Came early, so
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about that.
And usually, Betty, you send us off with a phrase.
Yes, which is called We're Helping You to Navigate the Muddy Waters of Our Time. And boy, are they muddy. So let us help you get through it.
Yeah, and we're giving you ways to be kind to yourself and others. And I want to just say go outside and ground, go seek a glimmer. Until the next time, be well. And if our crone Sally was here, she would say, and so do we, walk in
In
beauty.
beauty.
Kiddish
Kadish
day.
day.
All is made beautiful. Till the next time, bye-bye.